Today we're talking about the history of Valentine's Day and Lupercalia in the pagan and ancient time tradition in just a moment. Hey everyone, I'm Mel from Melsdivination. I'm the owner, the operator, and the creator here, and today is Witchy Wednesday. And on Witchy Wednesdays, we do witchcraft stuff. So this includes anything under the witchcraft umbrella, spirituality, metaphysical, paganism, all the stuff. And in spirit of the upcoming Valentine's Day holiday, I thought it would be fun to talk a little bit about some history on this holiday. Now, I do want to just let you guys all know before I get going in this is a brief history. This is not a fully extensive history. So I did not spend hours and hours and hours and hours researching this, okay? I'm not an expert on this by any means. I'm just sharing some information with all of you. This is definitely not the extensive end-all be-all list of this history, all right? Now, I also wanted to share with you all that I do have a Valentine's Day love reading special on my website right now at melsdivination.com in the shop section. It is $14 for a reading. You'd get a video or an email that would be sent to you for your reading, and it is only available for a very short amount of time. I probably will be taking it down before February is even done. So if you want to jump on that, you want to go check that out, all right? All the instructions are literally where you're booking it, where you're purchasing it. Now, we're going to get into this. So the history of Valentine's Day and Lupercalia. Valentine's Day is a holiday celebrated on February 14th, or not celebrated, but for those of the people who do choose to celebrate it, it's February 14th. It originated as a Christian feast day honoring one or two early Christian martyrs named Saint Valentine. Over the centuries, it has evolved into a day of romance and love celebrated by couples all around the world. Now, I do want to say something before I get into the meat of what I've written down for you guys. What I found while I was researching didn't align with what my brain thought. I don't know why I thought that it had something to do with slaughtering by somebody named Valentine, but when I get a little bit further, it'll probably make a bit more sense. Maybe there was a slaughtering as well. I'm not sure. So the exact origins of Valentine's Day are uncertain, but one possible connection is to the ancient Roman festival of Lupercalia. They fall right around the same time. Lupercalia was a pagan fertility festival held in mid-February, honoring the Roman god Faunus, also known as Lupercus. During the festival, young men would draw the names of young women from a box and pair off with them for the duration of the festival. These pairings were often seen as a form of matchmaking, and it is believed that this tradition may have influenced romantic aspects in modern-day Valentines. They also may have lasted, the matchmaking may have also lasted longer than just that, if they hit it off, than just that one festival. In the 5th century, Pope Gelasius, I'm going to put it right here, it's not, I don't know, declared February 14th as a day of honor to honor Saint Valentine, a Christian martyr who was executed during the reign of Emperor Claudius II. There are two different stories associated with the term, the name, Saint Valentine, but both involve him performing marriages for Christian couples in secret, despite the emperor's ban on marriage, Emperor Claudius. And there's a whole history there that we're not even going to get into today, but that was something that was going on at that time. So there was this behind the scenes Valentine person who was secretly marrying people because it was actually against the law. One story tells of him being imprisoned and befriending the jailer's daughter, to whom he wrote a farewell letter signed "From your Valentine" before his execution. So one is he marries people, the other is he's imprisoned. I do believe he also was killed. I actually don't have that in my notes, and I'm not sure why. But I do believe there's also a story of St. Valentine being killed, being executed for the marriage situation. So it's not super clear what the true pieces of it. This is what happens when there's history so far back. There's multiple versions of it. If you know, because like I said, I didn't spend an eternity researching this. If you know more than I do and you know the answers to this, feel free to share with us. Please, more than welcome. All right, so over time, the celebration of St. Valentine's Day gradually merged with the traditions of Lupercalia, and by the Middle Ages, it had become a day associated with love and romance. People began exchanging handwritten love letters and poems, a tradition that continues to this day. In the 19th century, the commercialization of Valentine's Day began with the invention of the Valentine's Day card. The first mass-produced Valentine's Day cards were created in the 1840s and quickly became popular. The exchange of cards, chocolates, flowers, and other gifts became customary, and the holiday took on its modern form as a day to celebrate love and affection. So that leads up to where we are now. That is a brief snapshot of the history of it. However, this didn't talk too deeply about the pagan roots of it, so I went a step further. And I looked up information about the pagan celebrations of it specifically, okay? There is going to be a little bit of overlap, but not a lot. Okay, so pagan celebrations of Valentine's Day in history. Valentine's Day has its roots in ancient pagan celebrations, particularly the Roman festival of Lupercalia. And we're going to take a look at those influences. Lupercalia was a pagan fertility festival. Now, I didn't say that in the other part. It was a fertility festival held in mid-February in ancient Rome. This honored the god Faunus, also known as Lupercus, yes, I've already said this, who was associated with fertility and protection of shepherds and their flocks. We didn't really talk about that. This includes some of the other information that I already supplied, but we're going to get into more meat and potatoes about things that I didn't already discuss or share. So let's talk about the fertility rituals here. Lupercalia involved various fertility rituals, tongue-tied, including the running of the Luperci, or Luperci, I'm not sure how to say that, so I'm going to try to put that down here, a group of young priests who would strike women with strips of goat skin, which was believed to promote fertility. And from the research that I've read, it wasn't really like this, oh my God, I'm being whipped. It seemed like it was like something they wanted. Another ritual involved the sacrifice of a goat and a dog and the smearing of their blood on the foreheads of young women, followed by the wiping of the blood with milk. These rituals were intended to purify and bless the women, ensuring their fertility and easy childbirth. Remember, centuries ago, lots of centuries ago, women's purpose in life was to have children and to keep the line going, to keep the whatever person they were committed to keep that bloodline going. So back then, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and thousands of years ago, people didn't have science, so they had these beliefs. It may sound archaic, but that's because back then there wasn't a lot of scientific knowledge. They did what they thought was the right thing. Lots of superstitions back then. Now we get into the feast of Pan. Pan is also a god of fertility, but he is the Greek god of fertility who is associated with nature and sexuality. He was also celebrated around the same time as Lupercalia. The Feast of Pan was known for its wild and hedonistic celebrations involving drinking, dancing, and sexual freedom. This pagan festival may have influenced the more sensual and passionate parts of Valentine's Day celebrations. So there's a lot of overlap, but they're all a little bit different. We also have influencing on modern Valentine's Day. Over time, Christianity spread throughout Europe, and many pagan traditions, including Easter, which is Ostara, including Yule, which is Christmas. We could go on and on about this. Were gradually absorbed or replaced by the Christian holidays. Now, that's a whole nother topic we can talk another time on. The celebration of St. Valentine's Day on February 14th merged with the traditions of Lupercalia, transforming it into a day associated with love and romance. However, some of the pagan influences, such as the focus on fertility in matchmaking, persisted and can still be seen in modern day Valentine's Day celebrations, which is somewhat true. I don't really know anybody that in commercialized Valentine's Day celebrates fertility, but I could be wrong. Modern times is what I mean. Now, we're wrapping this up with commercialization. So this is kind of like the death to Valentine's Day, in my opinion, because once I got older and I realized what kind of a day it was, I really, really kind of just was like, yeah. But it's all about how much money you spend and what you do. And that's, in my personal opinion, take it or leave it for what it is. Valentine's Day is hyped up, and there's a lot of pressure on that day, both for singles and for couples, about how good somebody gave you something or how much money they spent or what did they do for you on Valentine's Day, what did you do together on Valentine's Day. And I used to be that person. I was bought into it. The person I've become, though, because I was the person who did all the things on Valentine's Day, I realized they were hollow. Even if I did something on Valentine's Day with my partner at the time, it didn't necessarily mean it was special. In Mel's opinion, you don't need and you shouldn't have just one day of the year to show each other how much you love one another. That should be a regular thing of thoughtfulness and sweetness and kindness. And of course, some days are better than others, but that should be a regular thing. It shouldn't be, oh, it's our one time a year, we better do something good for each other. No, that doesn't work for me. That doesn't work for me. Anyway, the commercialization of Valentine's Day began in the 19th century, which we already mentioned, with the invention of the cards and gift items. The exchange of cards, chocolates, flowers, and gifts became customary, and the holiday took on its modern form as a day to celebrate love and affection. While the pagan origins of Valentine's Day have faded into the background, the holiday continues to carry traces of its ancient fertility-focused roots. Now, I'm pretty much out of daylight, as you can probably tell. I really wanted to get this done for you guys so I could roll it out before the time is coming, roll it out early. So when I release this video, it's going to be the week prior to Valentine's Day. So you have plenty of time to go get that reading if you're interested in that. But also, I'm going to be doing a spell on the following Witchy Wednesday, which is literally Valentine's Day. The video will be released on Valentine's Day. And it's a self-love spell, self-confidence and self-love spell. It's not about casting a love spell on somebody else, but it's more about casting the spell on yourself to boost up how you feel. If you feel good about yourself and you love yourself, you're going to be a natural magnet for good vibing people that are drawn to you. This doesn't matter if you're in a relationship or if you're not. This really does have a lot to do with manifestation. It can be all about abundance in work opportunities. It can be about smoother relationships with others, family, friends, coworkers, and romantic, if that's something that you're interested in. So I do recommend that you check that out because I'm pretty excited about that one. And at the end of the day, if you're still really wanting a little bit of extra boost for some kind of spell work around love, check my Etsy shop out. I have the link in the description box below. I sell a love intention oil. I don't usually promote it on here because I don't need to, and I don't feel I'm not that person. But if you're looking, that thing is intense. The love intentions oil it can be, you would charge it. I would make it and charge it and then send it to you, and then you would use it with your own specific intentions, just like Art of the Root stuff, right? So that is a strong one. And in fact, it's almost a little bit dangerous only because when I first was testing it out and making it, and we're talking about 4 or 5 years ago now, I was putting it on myself and I wasn't really focused on the intent. I would just kind of put it on myself and go about my day. And I had exes that I hadn't spoken to in years calling me. And I was just like, whoa, and they'd be like, why can't I stop thinking about you? It's been like a week. I can't stop thinking. I can't get you out of people that I hadn't been speaking to. And I was like, when did this start? And sure enough, it was the first day I started using the oil. And I was just like, I'm sorry. This isn't about you. Like, oops, I'm sorry. Like, I just put it out there to bring in love. And I wasn't really like focused on the intention. And I learned real fast that oil works well, but you got to be very mindful of the intention. It works fast and it works well, but the intent is what's really important there. So just a little anecdotal story for you around that. Anyway, guys, I'll see you all soon. If you have any questions, comment down below or find me at melsdivination.com. My email is always the same, melsdivinationreadings@gmail.com. I hope to see you guys soon. Have a great Valentine's Day, and bye for now.